Well, hello there, and welcome to another edition of Let's Get Visible, Visible. I want to get visible. Hello there, I'm Laura, and welcome to, as I said, Let's Get Visible. It's the Let's Get Visible live stream with me, your friend, your marketing partner in crime, as far as helping you increase your visibility, your impact, your influence, and grow your network and attract all your amazing clients, all these amazing things you can do once you become visible. And I'm here to help you do that. And welcome, welcome, welcome. And today, I want to introduce you to a good friend of mine because you know I've been doing these live streams for 18 days. This makes 18 days in a row. Sometimes you've caught me at 9:30. Other times you've caught me at 10 o'clock in the morning. But I'm committed to doing 30 days of live streams so that I can get my mojo back with doing lives and creating video that's going to help you in your business. And I figured it's time to introduce one of my friends here so they can give you some game as far as marketing your business and business in general, different tips. And so I want to welcome my friend, Mark DeLeon. Mark, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Good afternoon, Miss Laura Connor. How are you?
It's so nice to be here. It's so nice to have you here and welcome.
Oh,
Did you hear all those people cheering? That was your sound effect, wasn't it?
yeah, absolutely. That was me. Right. The
Oh, well,
crowd.
welcome. I know that they're standing ovations before we even say a word. That's so cool. So Mark, tell everyone a little bit about you, about yourself.
Wow. Okay, so I am a insurance agent at present. I really got two roles in my life. I've got two sides of my personality. I guess I'm a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I'm an insurance agent based in Ajax, Ontario. I work with medium and small businesses, providing them with group benefits plans, primarily. Group benefits plans help businesses who are looking to grow to retain and attract the best clients, best employees, and to do so in a very tax efficient, cost effective way. That will help their businesses move forward. So that's one side of my life. The other side of my life is I'm a content creator. So since I was a young and very young guy, I've been making video and creating other types of content. And I've recently started a podcast called the Protect the Dream Project, which is into its second season.
Nice, nice. And we're definitely going to talk about the whole podcasting, your podcasting journey, because I'm kind of interested in that, and I know a lot of people are interested. And if Gary Vee says that everyone should have a podcast, I think everyone should have a podcast. So I want to hear your journey and um, some things that you've learned along the way from that. All right, so you're in insurance. Tell us a little bit about the whole insurance thing. The first question that comes to mind on that is, you said for group insurance, is there a minimum amount of employees that a company has to have?
So in general, you're looking at a minimum of 3 employees, right? In most cases, it's not seasonal employees, so it can be maybe you and someone who's working relatively part-time. Many insurers require a minimum of about 20 hours a week to qualify as a group benefits recipient within a plan. Then there are a lot of different ways you can go about getting a plan for your business. Some are customizable, some are more what we call pooled, which means you go into a chamber-like plan, if you want to call it, in which it's one size fits all. And there's different benefits to be benefits. It's always hard to use the word benefits when you're talking about benefits.
Right.
So there depending on the need of the client, there are different ways to structure that program to help you to get the most out of it and help your employees get the most out of it. And that's really the key, right? When someone's looking for a job, 9 times out of 10, they're willing to take a job that pays them less in order to get the benefits on the other end. the sad part about it is that many business owners, particularly small business owners, fail to understand that and look at group benefits as an expense to their business, when in actuality it is not an expense. It's a means by which you can grow your business and increase your profits, by having the right people in place. Now, for example, let's say you have someone who decides, you know what, Laura, I've been working here for 10 years. um, I'm going to leave your business because you haven't offered me benefits. And you're paying that person, I don't know, let's just throw a number out. Let's say $50,000, $60,000 a year. The cost to replace that person could actually be 2.5 times the annual salary of the person that has just left. And for many small businesses, that is less than 1 year's value in group benefits. So what would you do? Would you rather keep the person and save yourself $60,000, or put a group benefits plan that's not only going to cover the employees but cover you as a business owner?
Well, when you break it down like that, it only makes sense to have a group benefits plan. But I don't think
Absolutely.
most people actually take the time to think about it like that.
And I understand that, when you're running a small business, a lot of people, it's shoestring, right? And you're trying to, you're so concentrated on just getting to the next sale or getting to the next thing you've got to do, and it's moving through the process, that stopping to think about benefits is something that is not always top of the agenda. And I completely understand that. And it's like that also, not only for benefits but for life insurance as well too, and other types of insurance, like disability and critical illness insurance as well too. The issue is always, it's going to happen to someone else. I'm not going to worry about it. I'll deal with it when I get there. All these things that you put in its way, but when it actually shows up, because it will show up at some point in time, then you say, well, I would have, should have, could have. And then we start looking at people who decide they're going to go to all the crowdfunding, thinking that's going to save their bacon, and it's not.
Right, right, right. No, that you broke that down real well. You broke that down really well. Now, so you handle group life insurance or group insurance, and you
Right.
also
So,
do
sorry, go ahead.
what you do critical life, and you said something else, because I think these are important things that we all need to be putting into place before, you
So
know.
a lot of people talk to you about putting together your financial plan, right? Now, as a business owner, you obviously it's important to put together a financial plan. I guess I'm talking to the choir, but there's some cornerstones involved in putting together a financial plan, and one of the main cornerstones is insurance. And insurance, let's really kind of get brass tacks. It is not the most exciting thing in the world. Let's understand that, right? Um, when you see an insurance guy coming, it's like a guy in a plaid suit sometimes, right? However, the important part of insurance is this: by protecting the most important parts of your life, which is your income. Protecting your income allows you to do everything else in your life, right? If you got sick tomorrow and you couldn't go to work or you couldn't run your business, what happens to your lifestyle? It's really simple, right? You buy insurance for your car, you buy insurance for your house, you buy insurance for your dog, but you won't insure your income. Doesn't make any sense, right? So, insuring your income is really important. Disability insurance and critical illness insurance really are two ends of a stick, in my opinion. Uh, for disability insurance, if you're a young person just starting out, the likelihood of you getting injured is significantly greater, injured and unable to work, I should say, is significantly greater than death, right? So if I'm a young person, I'm in my 20s, I've got another 40, 50 years of work ahead of me. If I get injured in the first 2, 3 years, 4 years, 10 years, and I'm unable to work for the rest of my life, or, what happens, right? Who's going to support me?
Right.
Or critical illness. Did you know that 1 in 2 Canadians will have a cancer experience in their life. 50% of us.
I didn't realize it was that much. No.
50%. So a critical illness plan will cover things like cancer, will allow you to receive a lump sum payment, which you can then decide what you're going to do with. Maybe you're going to pay for a loved one to take care of you for the year and replace their income with that money. Maybe you're going to go off and find alternative treatments. Maybe you're going to take the money and say, okay, look, you know what? I'm going to do this last hurrah and take a worldwide trip with that significant other or your family or whatever, as you move into a different stage in your life because of illness. So, a critical illness policy can do a lot. It can be a mortgage payment over a period of time to help your family transition until the life insurance comes into place, if that's the diagnosis and the direction it's going. So life insurance, disability insurance, critical illness insurance, group benefits, they all play a critical role in helping you to build that nest egg that you want. It's not simply about putting money inside an RSP and all those things. And those things are important, don't get me wrong. But if you're not doing the other side of it to protect all those things, you might as well not do anything. You've got to have a good foundation, and insurance is the foundation for the house that you're building.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you gave us some good gems, not just for the marketing part, but really for business and life. So thank you for sharing that. If you are joining us this afternoon, wherever you are in social media land, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, maybe even Instagram. Well, I'm not on Instagram, but maybe you may be seeing it. But anyways, wherever you are, comment, tell us your name, say howdy do, and tell us where you are tuning in from. And then also, if you have a question, drop it in the comments for Mark. And if we're on live, definitely we'll be able to answer them and give you some great gems like he's been dropping right now. So now, Mark, give me 1 second. I want you to stay right there.
Okay.
Because what I realized is I'm going to try to close up some of these tabs that are on my computer.
Okay.
Did I lose you?
I'm still here.
Please say I didn't lose you. Tabs open, and
we're good.
I don't want to lose you partway through.
We're good. We're good.
We
lose, next we can always come back, right?
Closing some of these. All right. So now okay. Wasn't that the same conversation that we had on my very first live, where I lost the signal, and so I came back in a minute or two later, and you commented on it. That was our first conversation. Our first conversation is about that, and I don't want it to happen right now. Okay, so I have a question for you.
Yes.
Now, okay, so this whole live stream is about getting visible. And
yes,
one of the days that I was talking about was talking about what you know a lot about and what you're passionate about. Now, how does that, you're giving us this information and really causing me to think about a few things. What do you do as far as sharing what you know, and how is being passionate about life insurance and getting people to set their foundations right, how does that translate into your marketing, into what you do as far as attracting new clients, and just educating people on the whole insurance topic?
So I am passionate about small business, medium and small business, right? Insurance is one segment, and I enjoy doing the insurance business, but I look at it from a larger point of view. I have been an entrepreneur since I was 18 years old. I've owned, my first company was
5 years ago.
Yeah. We'll go with that. We'll go with that. So while I was going through university, I had inherited the business from my father. And I had about 20 employees. We were doing some significant numbers in sales, and I eventually sold that company to Rogers. Um, After that, I started a telecom company with a couple of buddies. And in your early 20s, you think you know everything, right? So
Yes.
uh, I learned that lesson I learned there was do not go into business when each of you has the same amount of ownership. Somebody has to be able to make a decision somewhere along
Mhm.
the line and to be able to have the final say. That was a lesson learned. So long story short, I my before I got into the insurance business, I owned a telecom not telecom company, a technology company for about 16 years, and I spent a lot of time um, reaching out to clients, chasing people, you know, doing all kinds of stuff, man, knocking on doors and sending out flyers and man, all kinds of stuff. And as I got older, I said to myself, you know what? There's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. And along the way, the government changed the rules on what small business can do as well, too, as far as connecting with potential clients. And that has, in my opinion, has really hampered the ability of small business to move forward. Uh, while I understand the needs for anti-spam legislation, I understand the need for privacy rules. I get all that, and we're all victims of it from the phone calls we get every single day on our phones. But it has also made it significantly difficult for individuals to grow their business. That being said, I vowed that I'm not going to chase people anymore. I'm not going to do it. I am going to put myself in a position where people will come to me. People don't want to be, I think you said this the other day, people don't want to be sold anything. They want to be able to
True.
purchase. They want to be able to purchase. So, that being said, I found it myself to take my skills I've had over the years of making videos, creating videos, and putting myself out there and trying to make myself, as you put it, make myself more visible. Video is a fantastic platform to do that. Along the way, I also was involved with a radio show called Livestream, and
It's not me. It's not me.
oh,
He'll be
it
right
was
back.
was it me?
It
No,
was
it was
you.
me. It was me. It was me. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. My cable, my,
All
my
right. So you
cable came
said,
out. Yeah.
oh, okay,
So if you've been
okay.
out in the Durham region area, are we good? We're good. You got me?
Yes. No, we're perfect.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So if you've been out in the Durham region for any length of time, you'll probably be familiar with a radio show that was on the local radio here called the Small Business Big Ideas Show. I was on that show as a tech guru from time to time. I also appeared on a show called First Take Live with Garth Riley. Unfortunately, our friend Garth, uh, rest in peace, passed away recently, but he was a fantastic fellow. Uh, so my passion for broadcasting was developed with those shows, and it showed me the value of putting yourself out there and allowing people to reach you as opposed to you having to reach out to them. It was more efficient. You could hit a lot more people, and it's interesting the people who say, "Hey, I know you," or "I've listened to you." And I always say it's not who you know; it's who knows you is really more important,
Absolutely.
right? So yeah,
Absolutely.
did I answer your question, or did I just talk a lot?
No. So you're using video to
I'm using
get out,
video.
and it makes it
Yep.
a lot easier.
It,
Uh,
it does make it a lot
because
easier.
I find a lot of people when they when you first say, okay, well, yes, you need to put yourself out there, then they try to say, okay, well, I don't know what I want to talk about because they're trying to get to the most deepest area in their business rather than just talking about the areas that make them light up and that they really want to share. If they only had 5 minutes to tell a good friend as to what they do, what are those things that they would talk about, and share those things, and it comes so much more naturally. But you speaking now, talking about insurance and how you help business owners to really grow their business and to keep their business going, it came so naturally to you that that's just a lesson that we can all learn. Talk about what you love about your business and get more comfortable with that. And then the other areas, the more deeper areas, will end up coming out eventually, right?
Exactly. I think, like you're saying, people try to complicate the matter too much, right? Um, the simplest thing you can do is to take out your phone, sit down, and talk to your phone and say, "Hey, this is what I like about what I do." Right? Yeah, as small business owners, we wear a lot of hats. That's all those extra hats that you wear. That's not why you started your business, right? Tell people why you started your business. What's the passion behind it? Right here, right, right there is is my logo for a company I've recently started called DeLeon. And DeLeon is the other side of my life, is the creative content side of my life, and my passion for creating video and creating online content is being wrapped up in DeLeon, and using the skills that I've garnered over the years allows me to not only to do this other business as well, but support my insurance business. I keep seeing a lot of my colleagues in the industry. Many of them just regurgitate the information they find. They're not differentiating themselves in any kind of way by creating their own content. They're not saying, "Hey, I'm an expert in my business." They're saying, "Me too, me too, me too." Okay, there's nothing wrong with saying "me too." Let me rephrase that. If you don't feel comfortable doing it, okay, but I highly encourage you to take some time, write down your thoughts, and create something that is unique to you. I was discussing this with my wife the other day. When I look at different business models over the years, one of my goals was always to move closer to being the manufacturer, in quotes, of whatever product. The manufacturer is the one who is actually the most unique in um, any chain, any supply chain. It's the manufacturer. The closer you are to the manufacturer, the more likely you'll be profitable. Right? From that respect, let's say, for example, here I've got this pen. Okay, um, I'm the manufacturer of this pen. I've designed it. I've patented it. It's unique to me. But now I've got 5 people who want to sell this pen. Right? You got 5 guys
Right.
in competition. You have 5 people in competition to sell this one product that is unique. Right? Only one person is
Right.
really making it. Only one person is really making a lot of money on that pen. Everyone is just taking a little piece off the side. So, make yourself unique, make yourself stand out, and try
Good point.
and position yourself as close to being the manufacturer of your content as possible.
Great point there. Great point. Um, Now I have a question for you
Mhm.
because I've spoken to some people in the insurance industry, and when I suggest, hey, you need to be creating your own content, then they'll immediately or quickly start to say, well, give all the reasons why they can't share a bunch of content because of different regulations and things like that. How do
Well,
you get,
you
but
have to be
obviously you're
concerned
doing
about
it. So how
compliance.
do you,
Okay, so
yes,
you have to be concerned about compliance, and there are a lot of industries that are concerned about compliance. Now, when you put your information together, your information needs to be uh, not given as advice per se on it. Okay, so I wouldn't say, hey, person X, you need to do this because as advice from me, you're doing this, right? Um, it's more informational, right? So, information like, for example, this is the difference between a term policy and permanent policy, educational. Okay. There are some
Okay.
basic educational frameworks that you work within without giving specific advice to a specific person. Make sense?
Okay, so yes, it makes sense to me. And I always thought it could be done, but I think that is the easy out answer that I get a lot of times, where as to the reason why people won't take that time to create their own content. So if they do, most people, uh, a lot of people in the insurance industry that I find, that I speak to, they won't put out content. And then the few that do will be me too, not adding their own flavor and creating their own content. They're, you know, and if we flip it just a little bit, what kind of similar to when I see in real estate, and I love real estate, so it's no knock on real estate. But when the Association of Realtors would put out their report, or their report for the quarter, then everybody would just pretty much copy and paste and share it, rather than, you know, give
Well,
it yourself, make a video, talk about it, and share.
There are certain things that you have to be cognizant of. If you are talking about real estate in this case, and you are and you as the agent are going to put out numbers, right? Those numbers need to be supported by something, right? So you got to be cognizant of those kind of things. They've got to be you can't just throw something out there and say, hey, whatever. But they've got to be supported.
True.
They've got to be supported by something. In the insurance industry, life insurance industry, there are a number of different ways that the agents work. Some are what we call captured agents that work with some of the larger, well-known firms, right? And some are more independent brokers like myself, or some are independent broker groups. Okay, so I was a captured agent at one point in time when I first started, and within that concept of captured agent, we were only allowed to do what our organization was giving us to do. So amount of flexibility was not there, right? So it all depends on who the person is and what their particular situation happens to be. That will change from time to time.
Okay, now that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. But for the people who are not captured agents, there could be a little bit more flexibility, even if you're not talking about insurance. Correct?
Correct.
No?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I think part of growing your business is getting people to like you. So even if you don't talk about insurance, just let people get to know you, add value in a way that's going to make people know, like, and trust you. Then you could talk about that in other methods, start conversations.
Absolutely.
And so, that's cool. So now, a question for you. You're great at the video. You talked about how you're doing live stream. Talk about that. And then also I want to hear about your podcast journey.
Okay. So, live stream. Okay. As I said, I've been creating videos since I was a young guy. My uncle was a professional photographer. So as a young boy, he would say, "Come on, Mark, we've got a wedding to shoot. Let's go." So I'd be the guy carrying all the stuff, while he's shooting all the photos. Eventually it got to the point where I was the guy who was doing all the video and teaching him how to do it, and doing all the editing for the video. So I've been making video for quite a long time. When my daughter went to school, she went off to school, I said, and I wanted her to keep in touch with our church. I said, hey, you can keep in touch with church through the live stream of the church. And this is wow, I'm going to say 5 or 6 years ago.
So way before COVID, and when churches would be online.
Exactly. So our church was doing it online. But she said, "Dad, man, I can't watch this. The stream is terrible. And it's, it's not reliable, and can you do something about it? So I went to the AV team of the church, said, look, here's the problems. They said, well, Mark, we can't do anything. It's going to cost us like $15,000-$20,000 to fix this problem. And I thought about this. Now I've got a background in technology. I'm a certified computer and network tech as well. And I said to myself, you know what, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, what they just said. So I did my research. I built the new system for the church, had it installed. I trained all the users, all our operators on how to use it. And we put a system in for a quarter of the price that these guys were thinking it was going to cost us. The church at the time had a very, very, very small YouTube following. Went from about 50 viewers a week to at our height we were at 2,000 viewers a week. So now COVID's kind of settled down. We have about 600 viewers per week, and we have about 600 people in the church. So we now have about a 50-50 split between our online and our in-person attendees at our church. I learned a lot through that process. I learned a lot about live streaming through that process, and it helped that I had a background in videography when I got involved in that.
Okay, so as I'm going through getting my live stream, because I'm not at the same place I normally am at. My lighting's a little off. I'm going to come to you to get some tips and pointers on that. I have a few courses that I already have, but now that I'm about ready to start to implement it again, I know where I'm going to be coming to, Mark. I'm coming. Feel
free. So I'll give you a couple of some basic tips if you're just beginning live streaming, right?
Yes.
You don't need a fancy camera to live stream. Okay. The thing that is most important in live streaming is going to be your lighting. If you don't have good lights, the camera that you use, doesn't matter what camera, it could be the most expensive camera in the world. It doesn't matter. Your live stream will look terrible.
Mark, that is so funny. Okay.
Lights.
Call me out on that. Call me out on that.
I'm not talking about you, but I didn't mean to make you feel guilty.
Listen, I'm taking it because I say right before we came on, right before I came on, I'm like, boy, oh boy, it looked like I had a real extra deep suntan because the lighting where I'm at right now is not very bright, different from where I was. And the lights that I brought down here, they're not helping because I don't think I positioned them right. And because I probably don't think that they're the right lights. But anyways, so yes, point taken for point number 1. Thank you for that.
Now,
point two.
Point two. Now this can sound maybe a little technical to people, but I'm going to try and make it as simple as possible. Point 2. When you are figuring out how to stream, you've got to be concerned about a couple of things. What is the quality that I want on the other end? What is the availability of the bandwidth or the size of the pipe that I'm sending my data down? And at the other end, where it's going to be shown, what is the quality at the other end? Those are the 3 things you need to ask yourself. And all those 3 things need to match in order for you to have a good live stream. So, for example, if let's take Facebook, for example. It's a good example.
Right.
Facebook streams primarily at 720p. Okay. Most people will say, oh, I've got a 1080p or a 4K camera. I'm going to send that to Facebook. Okay, you can send it to Facebook, but the quality coming out the other end is not going to be great. You need to match your quality at the other end with the quality that you're sending to them to make a good quality stream. Right? So that's number 2. So make sure that everything lines up as much as you possibly can get it. So take some time and understand what the broadcast, it's called a CDN, the broadcast network is providing, and you match what they are providing.
Okay. And so that's another thing that I'm going to have to do. I'm taking it step by step. It's like,
Mhm.
let me get my mojo back so at least I'm comfortable online. Then I'm going to, and I probably should have been doing it at the same time. Yes, but I'm not. Okay, only so much I can handle. And then the lighting, I'm going to do that. I'm going to start. I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes, Mark. Matter of fact, I'm going to go back and watch the recording. Okay, step three, point three. What's the tip three?
Point three. Most people would like to see a almost like a television type of broadcast with things flying in and blah blah blah, and you're not going to be able to do that. Like, okay, so we've got lower thirds here. Okay. uh
Right?
and you've got your Connor Speaks in the corner. I've got my little Pixelian here. You're not going to be able to do those kind of things with just a straight phone. Even the green screen functions you get in things like Zoom, for example, are not going to give you a sharp green screen quality. I don't know if if you've ever done the green screen in Zoom, you just kind of see bits and pieces of people disappearing, right?
Yes.
All right. So
Yes.
you need to find a space where you can set up, if green screen is what you want to do, to have, for example, what you see behind me is virtual. It's not real. Okay.
Because they've been working like since we
Yeah,
started.
I pay I see this guy right here. He hasn't moved from his chair in years. Right?
Oh boy. Maybe if you offered them a group life
A
insurance
group benefits
policy,
plan.
there.
Yep. That's what he's here for. He's here for the group benefits plan, right?
Oh, that's funny.
But you have to learn. Uh, you don't have to, but one of the things you will learn with your lighting is how to do a green screen properly. Okay. Because if you don't do it properly, you end up with what's called green spill, in which you have green, your hair is green, all the edges around your body, it's not sharp. And
Right.
there are programs out there, some paid, some unpaid, that will allow you to have a more sophisticated type of streaming experience that most other platforms uh, or just doing it from your phone won't give you. So you have to kind of decide how you're going to do it. Are you looking to have a broadcast type live stream, or are you looking just to have a quick, run and gun type of live stream? You have to decide what your look is going to be.
Okay. Okay. All right. Do you have one more tip for that? Or do you have some tips and some game on podcasting? Your choice.
Uh, I guess you know what, your choice. What would you like me to talk about?
Okay. Listen, first of all, before we move on to the podcasting, I want to show everyone. I want you to show everybody your glass.
Oh,
Give
yeah, I made
prime
this.
example, great example about your water glass.
I went upstairs and grabbed a glass of water before I came down here. I didn't think about it. Uh, there's my glass of water, right? You can see that, right? I'll
The
put it against my
beautiful
shirt.
glass.
Yeah. Here we go. So
Okay, and
this
and
one you
that's
make.
green, right?
It's green. It's green. It's green. These are the choices that you make, and sometimes if you're going to go on screen, don't wear green if you're doing green screen, or else you look like a talking head. But yeah, that was a bad choice on my
Okay,
part,
okay.
but it does the job.
Right. No, it does the job. You get your water. We don't know
Yep.
what you're drinking, so it could be anything. Yeah. All
But
right.
going
So
back
now,
going back to what I
yeah,
said
go ahead.
about
Going back to
doing the green screen right. If you notice, right, the cup actually disappears completely. Okay.
yes.
And that's because of the lighting setup here and the screen setup, and you've got to have the space to do it in order to do it right. Um, Most people will take a green screen and back right up to the green screen, and then you'll see all the shadows. And so you've got to light your screen properly, and you've got to light your subject properly in order to get a clean green screen. And you need a little space. Like you can do it in a reasonable sized bedroom to do it right, but if you don't do it right, it's going to look weird.
So when you say 8 by 10 room would work to set it
Yeah,
up. A
an 8 by
nice
10 room
setup.
would work. Yeah, that would work. That would work.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Nice. Nice.
you need about maybe a foot and a half, you need about 2 feet behind you, right? 2.5 feet behind
Mm-hmm.
you would be is enough, is how much you'd need to space to move you away from the green screen, and then you need enough space in front of you that when you put your lights in, they're not beating down on you or over providing too much excessive glare.
Okay, great points. Great points. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So now I have a question for you on the whole podcasting. How did you get into podcasting? And how is that going?
So I got in podcasting because for a couple of reasons. One, going back to what we were talking about earlier about being visible.
Right?
I thought, you know what, to add to my visibility and to be different than my compatriots or my colleagues in the insurance business, I'm going to start a podcast. Um, and this goes back to my time in doing radio with the Small Business Big Idea show, which I spoke about earlier. It kind of sparked a passion to do broadcasting in that fashion, and it's become available. So I said, why not? There's a lot of interesting people to talk to out there, a lot of interesting stories. Everybody has something they want to talk about and not really sure how to go about it. Having been in business for so long, for me, it's about helping small business people to deal with the ups and downs of business. Being a small business owner is a heck of a thing. I mean, the amount of times that you find yourself with your back up against the wall saying, how do I solve this problem? Or you're on that riding that high. So yeah, I landed that great big client and you're about to sign the paperwork. And then for whatever reason, beyond your control, it doesn't work out. Right. So how do you manage to go from hilltop through the valleys, back up the hill, get kicked down that hill again, and start climbing back up? And that's what my podcast is about. It's about trying to find encouragement, trying to give you the tools to keep you, to help you stand up and keep going. Because sometimes standing up is tough. It's tough. That's what the podcast is about. It's called Protect the Dream Project.
Protect the Dream Project. All right.
Yeah.
So if you are tuning in now, please make sure, and I'll include that in the comments when we're done, so that you can go check out Protect the Dream Project. Now,
So
how
I'm
has that
sorry.
has it been? How has it been with building your network or building relationships or opening doors for you?
So I'm in my second season, right? Second season now. The first season was a real learning curve, right? Trying to figure out all the bits and pieces that need to go into doing it, what works well, what doesn't work well, what did I really want to say, So when it comes to podcasting, you really need to niche down, right? Find that spot that where you have something to say. It doesn't really have to be you. I mean, it can be only you if that's the way you want to go. So there's ways to do it. But once you kind of find your groove, it's kind of like, wow, this is pretty cool, right? This is pretty cool. And I'm amazed by the number of people and the places in the world that are listening to my podcast. My little voice is going out in the world, and people are actually listening to what I have to say and what the people I find interesting have to say. And that to me, I find is amazing, right? I mean, my podcast is small, right? We've got maybe 200, 300 downloads at this point in the game. So it's small. It's not Joe Rogan. Maybe it will be one day, but I'll tell you,
Maybe.
it brings a lot of solace to my life. I met a gentleman. A gentleman was on my podcast. His name was Paul Trammell, and Paul, he is actually the brother of a Hollywood actor by the name of Sam Trammell. And Paul led a life of drugs and alcohol. And one day he said, that's it. I'm done. I don't want this anymore in my life. Cold turkey. He bought a boat and he went sailing. And when I caught up with him, he was in Panama. And we talked about his life and the tragedies in his life and how he made that choice, right? To change his life and the difference it's made for them, right? So these are the things that I think small business owners need to know. And not only small business owners, I meet a lot of people who have a 9 to 5, right? And for years, they've been wanting to have their own business. It's always been a dream, but there's always been a fear in doing it, right? They don't have the ability, or they don't know whether they are able to just jump off that cliff and take the leap. Well, this guy, he jumped off the cliff, right? And he took this leap, and it's been amazing what his life, and he's been drug free for, I think he said 8 years or something like that, and his life experiences have been amazing. So hearing these kind of stories with through the podcast, it just inspires you to go forward.
Right. Now, say what the name of the podcast is again for everyone.
Protect the Dream Project. Protect the Dream Project. It's on all the major carriers. So, yep.
Okay. So definitely, I'm going to include that. Definitely going to include that. Who would your favorite guest, if you could interview anybody, well, 2 people, live and rest in peace, passed on, who would they have been or be?
So I was actually talking about this to my daughter last night, right? She asked me the same question. And so there's a gentleman by the name of Eric Thomas. He is a motivational speaker. And interestingly enough, him and I don't know him personally, but I have a lot of friends who actually do know him because they went to school with him. And, I would love to get it. Yeah, it's one of these 6 degrees of separation type of thing.
Right.
I would love to get him on as a guest. So, Eric, we've got a lot of friends in common. Let's have a chat, right?
Yes, it needs to happen.
The other one is the other one that I spoke to my daughter about, who I'd love to have along, would be Janet Jackson. The only problem with that is that I'd be so tongue tied I wouldn't be able to say anything. So let's pass on that one.
Well, you never know. You never know. You may have just the right questions to ask, and she'll do most of the talking, and no one will ever know if you're tongue tied or not, right?
Exactly. I've got a third one, a gentleman I met many, many, many years ago at a conference down in Atlanta. His name was Dennis Kimbrough. And Dennis Kimbrough wrote a book, and this poor book in my house I've given away a number of copies of the book, and the one that I have is so dog-eared because I read it over and over again. It's called Think and Grow Rich, A Black Perspective. It is a fantastic book. It's a take on the Think and Grow Rich book, but take it from a different perspective. And when I read that book, I've read that many, 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 many times. You see what Black people have gone through over the years, and the number of successful people, given the trials and tribulations that they've gone through. And I sit back and say, okay, what about me? Why can't I achieve? What am I doing? But what is in my way that I can't, that I haven't moved forward, or I'm not moving forward, or whatever it is, right? There's nothing stopping me.
Right.
It's such an encouraging book, right? That, Dennis Kimbrough is on my list as well, too.
Oh, great. Those are great choices. Thank you for sharing those. Thank you. And so here we go. Any last things? We're going to wrap this up, because I know that I had said when I first invited you to come on here, I said 7 to 10 minutes or 7 to 15 minutes or something like that. And the exact opposite is happening, but it's been great because you've been dropping some great ideas and thoughts and things that I can learn. And so I'm sure everybody's going to learn from our conversation. But
you didn't expect me to be talking so much, I guess.
No, absolutely not. I kept asking you the questions. What do you mean? I kept asking you the questions. All right. So, but before we go,
yes.
Any final tips on getting visible, in doing anything with your marketing, anything that you want to share to our audience?
So when you're online, don't just hit that like button. clicking that like button doesn't really mean a lot, to be honest with you. The whole point of social media is to engage. Take a minute, write down your thoughts, tell the person that you wanted to like their thing. Why do you like what you're seeing? Why do you like what you're reading? Right? Really engage and be social. Right? Get out there and do your networking with other small businesses. Let people put a face to the name so they understand who you are and what you're about. Right? Um, that's it. Use social media as it's meant to be used. Being social. Follow Laura. She's highly social. Everybody knows Laura. That's my tip for the day.
Some people. Thank you. Thank you for that. And a lot of people know me, but a few more need to, which is why part of the reason why I'm doing this 30 days of live streaming. Let's get visible. So, Mark, I just wanted to say thank you, thank you, thank you. You are my first guest for these 30 days, and I really appreciate you saying yes to do it. And I furthermore appreciate you being so open and willing to share all of the things that we talked about this evening, or this afternoon rather. And we're going to do something else soon. This will not be the last time that we're
Well,
doing something together. All right.
I appreciate you having me on. And it's nice to have people think that you have something to offer, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. So, um, and I keep saying the so word. I'm trying hard not to say the big S, the dreaded S word, and I said it I think 3 times in the last 2 minutes. That is my last time. But can you tell everyone how can they get a hold of you, Mark? Where should they go to learn more about you
Okay.
and to connect with you?
So you can find me on LinkedIn at markdeleon.advisor. You can find me on Facebook at Mark DeLeon Advisor. You can find me on YouTube at Protect the Dream Project. That's our YouTube channel. And you can come to our podcast at Protect the Dream Project as well. You can also email me at Pixzeleon, Pixzeleon, Pixzeleon@gmail.com. That is our media company, or protectthedreamproject.com. And the last one, if you're interested in insurance, we're going to talk about group benefits, mldeleoninsurance@gmail.com. So you got 3 choices.
Enough choices where there's no reason for someone not to get a hold of you.
Exactly.
All right.
So if you okay.
Finish. What were you saying?
Oh,
So
I was going to say, yeah. So if it depending on what you want to talk about, insurance, the ML DeLeon Insurance. If you want to talk about the podcast, you've got the podcast email. If you want to talk about just video creation for your business, you can get me at Pixzeleon.
All right. And on that note, well, I'm supposed to be doing the draw because I said I was going to do the draw yesterday, and I never did. And my bag with all the names they're upstairs. Therefore, tomorrow I'm going to have a 3-day draw. Tomorrow I'm going to be on the ball for the $200 hotel savings card. And Mark was our winner, and there was nothing to do. He just was commenting every day. So he was our complimentary hotel getaway winner. Congratulations again, Mark. And
thank you.
Everyone, you have an opportunity to win. All you have to do is comment on the videos and you'll be entered into our draw. And on September 30th, I'm going to do another drawing. All right. On that note, I'm going to say peace out to everyone. Thank you again, Mark. And I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, Laura. Thank you.
No problem. Take care.